everyone. I'm Ty Tinker. I'm head of analytics for AdQuick, and I was meant to be joined by Jason, my partner here today. But unfortunately, you only have the head of analytics, so I'm going to have to talk to you about formulas. Formulas are what power AdQuick's AI tool, which helps advertisers and clients understand how they can access the out-of-home space and explore the inventory quickly with a chatbot tool that helps them do so. Formulas are what help our unit recommender system prioritize units based on the client's likelihood to book that unit, based on historical data we've collected through the life of AdQuick. Formulas are what enable our DSP and our automatic bidder. But most importantly, and what I'm going to talk about today, is formulas are what help advertisers calculate return on ad spend. A few shutters in the room. Return on ad spend is an easy formula. It simply is represented by the amount of incremental revenue driven by campaign spend divided by the cost of that campaign. But the challenge and the problem that we face is proving that the incremental revenue was driven by a campaign. So we'll go on to the next slide here. There we go. Yeah, that's me. OK, moving on. So the way that we're going to do this, we're going to throw it back to DPAA 2023, where AdQuick spoke. We're going to talk about a few case studies that AdQuick has run to prove that performance begets new investment through retention and expansion of campaigns. We'll show how out-of-home is being tested in line with other channels. We're not in a vacuum. We're not alone. And we need to start winning some share. So when out-of-home wins, we all win. Let's move on. So throwing it back, last year we announced our new partnership with TransUnion to support measurement and drive incremental growth of both our own business and the channel as well. We worked with Brand in Madrid, and we've worked every single day to provide measurement solutions through audiences, MMM, mixed media modeling, multi-touch attribution, to support not only our clients, but also to move the industry forward in a space where omni-channel measurement is essential to any campaign that's spending across the US and beyond. We'll move on here. Here's a few facts to drive that point home. Measured campaigns, at least from AdQuick data, measured campaigns are 4 times larger than those without measurement. I'm not the first to say this, but I certainly won't be the last. It's hard to invest in what you can't measure. That's why larger campaigns beget more interest and require an understanding of exactly how the funds are driving new business. We'll move on here. We need to understand that advertisers who measure their campaigns are actually likely to rebook much sooner. This is something that we identified, and not only are they more likely to rebook sooner, 56% sooner, so if you have, let's say, an annual campaign, that annual campaign becomes a biannual campaign. The second campaign, moving from A to B, is 18% larger on average. It's driving direct expansion. These are causal relationships, at least for the next 2 facts. Speaking of causal relationships, we worked with TransUnion to run a mixed media model to understand how out-of-home not only impacted direct revenue for a specific brand, a global online marketplace, but how it played against other channels that were within the mix for this particular advertiser. As you can see here, I've made it very easy to see who the winner of that race was. That's out-of-home. What are those numbers? Well, each one of those numbers represents the number of dollars in revenue coming back per dollar spent on any specific channel. Out-of-home had a $2.49 per dollar invested in the channel return. This is incredible, right? But you can see the little blue bar next to it. Only 2% of their media investment across all channels went into out-of-home. So what ended up happening with this client? They expanded their investment to out-of-home. They decided to run an additional campaign. The campaign volume was higher, the revenue was higher, and ultimately, the commitment to out-of-home was higher. Out-of-home and multi-channel measurement via AdQuick is unbeaten. We work with a number of measurement partners so as to not grade our own homework. We want to provide these capabilities to all of our clients so that they can easily access omni-channel measurement and include out-of-home. I talked about formulas before. Out-of-home needs to be included in the formulas. It doesn't matter if the results are good or bad. We shouldn't be scared of results. What we should be investing in is making sure that we're continuing to optimize our campaigns based on those results and improve the outcomes. We do this through brand lift studies, through attribution, through conversions tracked to app. We're running measurement all the time, and the measurement tools are going to change. But if we're not included in the formula, if we're not delivering data, it's going to be a challenge to compete with other channels. Go through a couple of things here. No surprise, 80% of adults pay attention to out-of-home weekly. This is from a Nielsen 2019 study, so that may have changed, but likely not. Out-of-home has the highest reach, the most attention, and highest brand safety. We're working with something that's already driving return on ad spend. But we just need to see what that is, right? Moving on. If you want to capitalize on out-of-home's potential, you can do so with AdQuick. We rapidly build and iterate plans. Over 70% of our supply is available instantly. You can select markets and units as to facilitate causal-based experiments, incrementality tests, or run any campaign you'd like to drive specific KPIs, and you can track those KPIs. We set budgets to ensure measurable KPI lifts, ensuring that the percent of your revenue within a particular market is high enough to drive a revenue lift that will be detectable by a statistical model. This is something we advise our clients to do through the AdQuick process. And lastly, we measure performance, of course. I keep saying it over and over, but measurement is so critical. Over 75% of our campaigns that run through the platform that are qualified for measurement are doing measurement today. Whether that's as simple as identifying any lift in search or as complex as running a multi-market brand lift study flush with attribution. And now we're using satellite data. We're partnering with Metrico to understand what a qualified impressions looks like, and whether or not there was a likelihood that somebody saw an ad through this satellite data. So I'm giving you a ticket to conclude. You can measure your campaign today. All we need is a bit of unit data, and we can accurately measure whether or not out-of-home drove a lift in your channels and whether or not that supported your client's best interest in competing with other channels. Let's go for that $2.49 return on ad spend. So go ahead and scan that there, or don't. You never know where it will lead, but thank you so much.